Hello guys and welcome back to my budget deck channel. Today with a little bit of a weird budget deck. It's something I came out with on the spot and I really wanted to show it off. So it's not completely tuned yet. You might want to change certain things. But as you already see, it's like a Shaddoll Invoked rank 4 Spellcaster kind of deck. I really like it. The concept of it is going second and kind of steamrolling your opponent a little bit. You have multiple cards. Yeah, if you break through your opponent's boards, it can easily OTK him. Plus, you have a lot of synergy in the cards, so you might not think there is synergy, but I'm telling you there is. First of all, I want to talk about something like Dark Rule No More or Nibiru. I decided to go for Dark Rule No More because of Summoner Monk, and I want to put the spell card count up a little bit. But obviously, Nibiru can be better situational. I don't like if you're playing against pendulums, for example, or cards that can on their force summon power negate and then make this card kind of useless. While not a lot of people that build up a massive monster board will also have like a spell trap card that negates spell cards. So I feel like this card can be better. Problematic is that then you can't OTK, but you can still nuke their monsters. Their monsters are unprotected, so stuff like Exit Knight, Quintet Magician, those kind of things still work out. So I feel like it's still okay. Another problem with this deck is since it's going second, I feel like you kind of lack potential to go first with this deck. You have to do a lot in side decking if you ever plan taking this locals, which I actually think you can. You can perform okay with it. Maybe splash 9 trap cards into the side deck, maybe 6 or whatever, and then try to protect stuff like your Mekaba, maybe a Baguska or something in the deck, something like that. Or a Shaddoll Winda, stuff, that kind of stalls a little bit till you get to the go second. And that's what I would suggest. Also, I did not include Super Poly. Super Poly would be quite neat in this. You could put in stuff like Star Venom and all those kind of things. They work perfectly fine because you have enough dark monsters in the deck. But I wasn't sure when the next balance comes out. And I didn't want to this deck to be like already kind of unnecessary in the sense where it's like if Super Poly, which I could see with Nibiru and Dark Ruler No More being around, might get put back to 1 and then you already had a different list. So I felt like you can play it. I'm just saying that here, right here at the start, but I decided not to because of ban list reasons. After the ban list, I might make an updated version of this deck, so stay tuned for this, or stay tuned in general if you like budget decks. There's going to be a lot more because of the megatins. Starting off with Shaddoll Beast, well, helps you get an advantage off of your Shaddoll Fusion, which is pretty nice. Getting a draw, who says no to that? Shaddoll Dragon, it's a level 4, which can be quite helpful. Also, popping a spell trap card can be quite nice, especially in today's meta. Back in the days, a few years ago, that wasn't that important, but right now, I feel like it is. Also, with Summoner Monk, that helps you put in a Shaddoll monster on board if your opponent doesn't have an extra deck monster, but you still have a Shaddoll Fusion. Obviously, you can still get rid of it with Summoner Monk if you want to, but that could be a way how you get your Winda out, for example, or even your Construct, in a sense if you have another light monster in your hand, which you might. So that works as well. Plus, yeah, rank 4s are a thing. Trick Clown, since Shaddoll Construct is back, I wanted Construct to be at 2. Maybe we'll get that in the next ban list, so I would definitely play her at 2 because she's kind of important. But yeah, Trick Clown helps with that. One card that I wasn't sure if I wanted to include, but it's a Spellcaster. You go for rank 4s. Technically, you can normal summon it as well if you draw into it, but Summoner Monk kind of makes it happen as well. It's quite neat. Start drawing, getting a card off if you like drawing a card when you summon rank 4 monster, which is quite nice. You don't have to run it, but I felt like it was a neat little thing in this deck. Performage Damage Juggler, well, helping out with stuff like Construct, plus if you use it to fusion summon Mekaba maybe from your hand, then getting that into the graveyard. There's a lot of ways to get this into the graveyard and then get advantage, get Hat Tricker. Hat Tricker, one of the best spellcasters level 4 in my opinion, because you can easily go into rank 4s because all you need are 2 monsters on the board, not just on your side, but on the board. So with you running a lot of level 4s, that can easily lead to all you need is you need another level 4 in your hand that you normal summon, and your opponent needs 1 monster, and then you're set. So that should happen a lot. Helps you going into your basically win condition with Utopia double, for example, and in general is quite nice to get more spellcasters in. Alistair the Invoker, well, Invocation is a neat card to fusion summon. Also, it's a 1-card combo, being able to be searched for Magical Meltdown. Magical Meltdown actually helps your overall fusion monsters, not just invoked monsters, so that is quite nice. Searches it, so all in all I feel like this card is neat. Plus it's also level 4, so with the whole Hat Tricker kind of combination or Trick Clown, you actually have some neat little rank 4 plays. Summoner Monk, talking about rank 4 plays, you're on 22 trap spell cards, can be super neat. You can put it down to 2 if you want to. don't have to run it at all. But I felt like being a spellcaster, being a dark monster, and getting the rank 4 engine floating, especially with Utopia double being around, is kind of neat. One hedgehog because you can get another spellcaster to your hand with it, which is quite neat. Deck thinning can be quite a nice thing. Don't have to run it, but I felt like in this kind of deck it was actually quite nice. Shaddoll Falcor, usually don't run it in Shaddoll decks, but there with the being able to fusion summon stuff, I felt like if there's ever a deck, then right now it generates a little bit of advantage. Could use the tuner effect maybe. I don't know if you want to put in some synchro shenanigans, but I doubt it. I mean, you still have Effect Veiler as well, but I don't think you're gonna get the levels up to a point where it's like level 7 or 8 where it really matters. Effect Veiler as a spellcaster is a good disruption since you want to go second, and light, so that helps you with stuff like Mikaba, for example. So in general, this card is pretty good in this deck. Instant Fusion, you can get the Camion Wizard, spellcaster level 4. You can get Invoke Liga, also level 4 at least, not spellcaster. You could go 1000 Eyes Restrict, breaking an opponent's board apart a little bit, plus spellcaster, so that's that. And even go for Shaddoll Winda if you want to, if you're playing against heavy flooding decks during your turn. I don't know, there might be a reason why you want to play this card. Magicalized Fusion, could play it at 2, but I felt like it is kind of neat in this deck. It helps you going into Quintet Magician, which is one of your massive win conditions. Also helps you to go into Shaddoll Winda with materials from your graveyard, which isn't too bad. That's sadly the kind of only easily summonable fusion spellcaster monster, so we'll wait if in the future maybe there's going to be something else. Shaddoll Fusion, kind of annoying. It's a double-edged sword, kind of annoying if your opponent doesn't play extra deck monsters or you go first, so you have to kind of side deck around that a little bit. But Summon Among kind of helps with that problem of not having a Shaddoll monster, so does Shaddoll Hedgehog if you get into the graveyard somehow. Other than that, really good. You can plus off of this card so much just by putting it down, plus with like the whole Magical Meltdown, whatever kind of shenanigans. Shaddoll Fusion is actually pretty neat in this deck. Dark Ruler No More, I already talked about why I run this card over Nibiru or Super Poly. Don't have to. Since you OTK a lot, could not do it, could just play Nibiru or Super Poly, just play whatever you feel like. Invocation at 2, since this is a budget deck channel, I try to keep the profile as cheap as possible, so double Invocation was cheaper than triple, plus you don't need it as much if you draw 2 of them in the starting hand and 1 Alistair, whatever, that's total overkill and you really don't want that. So I felt like 2 Invocations were totally fine, but you can use that to technically fusion summon a Quintet Magician from your hand as well. At least you could fusion summon Winda from your hand, which can be quite nice. Foolish Burial is a card that helps you with stuff like Trick Clown, Damage Juggler, and any of the Shaddoll monsters being around. I feel like that card belongs in the deck. Twin Twisters, I think it's neat. I think it's definitely a neat card, especially in today's meta. You don't really mind discarding certain things. You might want to discard stuff like Damage Juggler or Trick Clown. So I felt like that wasn't too bad. 1 double or nothing, that's what I like to have the deck count a little bit higher than it needs to be, so you have even less chance to draw into this card because that is a massive break in your hand. And Magical Meltdown, search of stuff. I could play Terraforming, but don't really feel like it. Don't really think it's necessary since the Shaddoll field spell is complete garbage. Don't see why that would be a necessary thing. What you could do though is you could take it in, you could play Secret Village of the Spellcasters, since if you want to turn it to more into a first turn deck, because you have a lot of spellcasters, and having Secret Village plus Shaddoll Winda on board is quite a strong board at the start. So if you want to do that, that is always an option. For the extra deck, 1 Quintet Magician, 1 Mikaba. You could play 2, but I decided to go for 1. 1 Elysium, could cut that, put another Mikaba in if you want to. Shaddoll Construct, basically for the light engine. If it goes to 2, you might want to find room for it. 1000 Eyes Restrict, basically for the Spellcaster being, and Instant Fusion. Breaking boards can be quite nice. Isn't super good, but I think it's still worth playing. Shaddoll Winda, I like it. It's very neat. You play 2 because you can instant fusion it, and you kind of want to use Shaddoll Fusion as much as possible. So running 3 Shaddoll Fusion and 3 Shaddoll Monsters are actually fine. Could play the Earth one, but I feel like it doesn't help too much if you go in second. So I felt like, well, Winda doesn't either, but I feel like Winda overall was the better one because at least it cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. Fair. Camion Wizard, already talked about this, level 4s and Spellcasters. This card can be helpful. It's summonable because you have some dark monsters. Not the best option, but I think it's still worth to play. You could play Purgatory instead if you want to, or in general. Since you don't have a fire monster in your deck though, can be kind of optional if you're playing against Salamangreat. You could even side deck it in if you want to run an extra deck monster in your side deck. If not, Ash Blossom is a thing. Some things are things that it could still work. It's a very nice OTK card, but it's kind of situational in this deck since you can't really put it out yourself. I ran Trapeze Magician because I want to keep the Spellcaster theme alive, but you don't have to. It's really hard to find a good rank for Spellcaster monster because I think there is none that's really good. I feel like this one at least sounded somewhat helpful because you can like special summon performage monsters from your deck and this kind of stuff. Like it has some synergy because at least run the performages. So I felt like this kind of did help a little bit. Don't have to. Could play Baguska, the Abyss Dweller, Twin here, the Tornado Dragon, all those kind of things. Utopia plus Utopia double. Don't have to run it, but I feel like it's better than Dark Rebellion. It's actually adding another win condition in a rank 4 deck. Why wouldn't you play it? Exciton Knight, same thing. Basically, nuke an opponent's board, especially after hit them with Dark Rule no more, can be quite neat. You will use a lot of resources with a fusion deck, so this card using its effect shouldn't be too hard. One Boral Sword Dragon, you don't have to. You can play any other Link 4 or Link 3, even Unicorn comes to mind. All of those kind of cards work fine in this deck. And Crowley, just to keep the Spellcaster theme alive, you can play any other generic Link 2 that is easily summonable, so you can keep your monsters up on the field. You could even think about going for Almirage, but this card costs too much for being like semi-viable in the deck. Can help sometimes with the fusions and getting 2 fusions on board, but not necessary. If it would be a Spellcaster, I'd be like, go for it, but since it's not, you know, that's what it is. Hope you enjoyed the deck profile. That's about it. This deck should do really fine. It should be price-wise around 40 to 60, maybe $70 depending on what extra deck choices you go for. But I think the most expensive one is Invocation in this deck, basically, with not including Ball Sword, and the rest should be fairly cheap to pick up. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more budget deck profiles on this channel, because I'm gonna do some stuff about the new megatins. And hope you're having a good day.